There was a time when news about national issues came from a small handful of outlets. 3 major networks, some of us remember, a few national radio syndicates and newspaper outlets. We've seen that change dramatically over the last couple of decades with a barrage of 24-hour news outlets and a seemingly endless flood of faux news websites and podcasts. This dramatic increase in national news outlets could have provided us with deeper information and better information, but has instead introduced us to terms such as fake news and an entire cottage industry of fact checkers, proving once again that more isn't better, better is better. On the flip side, we have a much different situation on the local level. Communities once served by newspapers and other outlets dedicated to the lives have been either disappeared entirely or consumed by hedge funds and decimated beyond recognition. In contrast to the overwhelming flood of information and disinformation at the national level, what we have seen is the advent of the news desert locally. There was a time in the not too distant past when local newspapers covered every council meeting, the zoning board of appeals, every taxpayer dollar spent. But they also showcased our Eagle Scout ceremonies, our festivals, our band concerts. In too many communities to count, that has been replaced by a void, a bleak landscape lacking even the most basic coverage of community importance. That scarcity of local news weakens the fabric of our communities. It isolates us from what were once shared experiences, and taken one step further, it diminishes our citizenry, stripping communities of information, knowledge, and context we need to hold our elected officials accountable and for us to make informed decisions at the ballot box. Experiments like AOL's Patch Initiative, Lion Publishing, Tap Into, have tried to fill that void with, at best, varying degrees and more accurately limited success. Independent local news websites have sprouted up all across the country, often heavy on passion, but short on resources. But another solution has risen to address the local news desert, one that deserves more attention and wider application. Because for decades, university student media operations have served as a proving ground for aspiring journalists, a place where they can immediately take what they've learned in the classroom and put it into real-world action. We've seen this recently where student media organizations and their universities have engaged in broader partnerships with local media outlets, providing multifaceted benefits that enrich students' education, bolster the depth of information available to local communities, and strengthen the bond between university and communities. It is the epitome of Bowling Green State University's mantra, a public university for the public good. Right now, more than 100 colleges and universities have organized programs to provide local news coverage. As you might imagine, there are a number of different models and different ways to do things, and a lot of considerations to figure out. It's a work in progress. For example, at Northeast University, the project is called The Scope, which you can find at thescopeboston.org. They utilize a staff of undergraduate and graduate students, some paid, most volunteer. And in this instance, the project is separate from other news outlets, though they offer content for free. All they ask is to be credited and informed when it's republished, so they can include that information in an impact report. They're not competing with other outlets, they're supplementing. And their focus is clear from their tagline, Boston's stories of justice, hope, and resilience. That's a narrow niche, but an important one. How do these projects work? Well, in a recent webinar at the University of Vermont, the folks from Northeastern shared these 2 lessons, inextricably connected. First, buy-in from the university is crucial. A single staff member or faculty member cannot do this alone. And the buy-in extends beyond journalism faculty and staff. Other faculty, deans, and in fact, the very top of the administration must be committed. It must become part of the university's DNA. Second, students have to be excited by this project because enthusiasm is the jet fuel that makes projects like this fly. How are these 2 connected? It is up to the faculty to articulate the importance of the work the students are doing. It is up to them to stoke the enthusiasm. These 2 lessons hold true across the country, though models vary. At the University of Montana, they take a different approach with 2 or 3 students providing a legislative news service which produces written and broadcast reports to more than 150 outlets during legislative sessions. More than 150. That's more than 150 outlets able to provide citizens with news and information about their state's legislation and politicians. That's citizenry in action. On the other side of the country, at the University of Vermont, a number of journalism classes provide stories to more than 20 community newspapers. While next door at Northern Vermont University, the News 7 multimedia newsroom shares content with broadcast partners. Right up from Interstate 75 from where I'm standing right now at Eastern Michigan University, a broadcast journalism class partners with WEMU, an NPR station, to produce 6 to 8 minute long audio features. And just down the road at Denison University, students in a number of journalism classes cover news across multiple rural communities and share that reporting to other media outlets. This takes a collaborative effort with 5 faculty members and 80 members of the journalism program. Now, in addition to the lesson learned through Northeastern's project, there are still questions to be answered, not the least of which is libel, which can not only be complex, but expensive. Some universities have blanket insurance policies to cover this, others don't. And the fact that faculty is involved actually makes it more complicated. Obviously, it's something that needs to be worked through. Then there's the matter of student schedules. We know about summer break, but schools have spring break, they have winter break, they have fall break. And just because the students are on vacation doesn't mean the news stops. Then there's the skills gap. These are students, they have learning to do. But despite these questions and hurdles, these student news projects, over 100 nationwide, are making an impact and filling critical roles in local news. It's a great start, but more is possible. While journalism and local news coverage serve as the primary objective of these projects, the opportunity extends beyond that. The fundamental reason most local news organizations struggle or have struggled isn't their content, it's their economics. And a strong university partnership can help on 2 levels. First, there's the near term. Just as journalism and multimedia students can gain experience while helping inform the community, students focused on careers in advertising and marketing can help local news outlets improve their revenue streams. At the same time, students with an interest in marketing and social media can help local businesses develop more robust, effective ways to connect with consumers, to connect with members of the community. Thinking longer term, faculty and students can help with the most fundamental challenge for local news organizations, sustainability. Look no further than the Schmidhorst College of Business at Bowling Green State University for examples of how business students innovate new ideas and approaches, highlighted most widely in the annual Hatch program, which mirrors the popular television show Shark Tank. Now imagine applying that energy, that passion, into developing and stress testing business models for local news organizations. This could help build a sustainable news organization for the 21st century. And these lessons can help establish or strengthen news operations in an area where a university partnership just isn't feasible. And isn't that a core value of university research? Taking academic knowledge and turning it into real-world impact? Executed broadly and effectively, this strategy will result in better journalists because the students will leave college armed with more than a degree, with real-world, in-depth experience. They will learn that they can make a difference. This strategy will result in a more closely knit community with better informed citizens, capable of holding their elected local officials to a higher standard and elevating their expectations of national and regional officials as well. This strategy will strengthen the local business community and integrate the university into the very fabric of daily life. Building a better country doesn't start in Washington. It starts right here and wherever you are, on main streets all across the country. It starts with citizens who don't just care about their community, but are also informed and engaged enough to understand and demand the action necessary to create the communities they deserve. It's an opportunity for universities to go beyond being connected and to become a part of the very fabric of a community. It's a tremendous opportunity for universities to become part of the public good for the long term. Thank you.